Happy 2024. Welcome to our first Just Run podcast. My name's Rhys and this is Nathan. We're going to cover off, well, this is our first episode, so there's probably going to be teething problems, so bear with us, but we're going to try and keep it as interesting and fun and educational as we can, really. And come along on this journey with us. We're going to talk about loads of different topics. We got some great things planned in the coming weeks and months, including guests. And we'll start from there. So let's jump in. First and foremost, how was your Christmas, Nate? Let's chat about that.
It was okay. I've had a career in retail, so I've always just got Christmas Day and Boxing Day off. But this year I managed to get 4 days off straight, which was nice. I don't know what people do for 2 weeks off. He's just driving me nuts over Christmas. You can't go anywhere. It's pissing down with rain. So yeah, I was quite happy to go back to work after the 4 days, I think.
Is that a polite way of saying you get fed up with your family?
No, I've just always been used to working over the Christmas period. I don't know how people have the time off and what they do.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It just seems a waste of a holiday, doesn't it, really?
It's crazy though, because I literally had Christmas Day and Boxing Day off, and then I had to go into the office for 2 days, and then I had more time off. So I would have loved 4 days off. It's mad how it works, but it was miserable. I love Christmas. It was chaotic with my kids, but going into the office for those 2 days, nobody else was in there. I was sat in there by myself like a right plum, feeling really grouchy. But here's what it is, isn't it? It's Did you how was moving on to New Year's? What was that like? Because that just seems like it was a couple of months ago. It's gone by so quickly.
We just stayed in. We just thought that we didn't really want to just go into Canton and just a few pubs down there. But I think we took the kids into town for a meal first and then home. It was just too wet, wasn't it?
It was miserable, and I was frustrated, man, because on the 1st of Jan, I did want to get out and just, excuse the pun, but start the year off with a nice run. And I didn't, because my boy decided to not sleep from 12 o'clock at night. He woke up and did not go back down. So that was miserable, and everything went out the window because I was sleeping instead. So that was miserable as hell. But yeah, I've got to say as well, we talked about this just before we came on, but your background's nice. That the picture behind you, I've just realised it looks a bit like a phallus.
Cheers.
Directly behind your head. What's the bet, guys, that he doesn't have that on the next one?
I'm gonna have to stick with it now, aren't
I? Nice. About New Year's, mate. Actually, let's talk about resolutions. What's your thought on them? And I know that I only asked this because I've been speaking about with a few people in work, and I realise it's a bit of a controversial debate. I got so many different answers from so many different people. I've got my own view on them, but I'm just interested about what you think.
I don't believe in them. I just think they're a waste of time, because people make resolutions with an end goal in sight, and then they get frustrated and disheartened when they don't achieve it quickly. So it's better just to fall in love with going to the gym each day, rather than I want to lose £5 or I want to run 10k or 5k. Just fall in love with the process in it, really, and just get out and just grind it out. But yeah, New Year's resolutions, don't believe in them. It's easy to just fall off the wagon with them.
It is, isn't it? And I know everyone says it, but you if you go to the gym, if anyone listening goes to the gym, you'll see a massive influx of people now. And I can bet money that by the 1st of Feb, you won't ever see those people again. And that's the part that frustrates me, because I love the fact that people are going to the gym as a resolution, because it's your fitness and your health. I don't like the fact that they've waited till the 1st of January to do that, as controversial as that is, just because I feel like it's something you should focus on every day, all year round. I encourage anyone to go to the gym, but this whole New Year, new me thing, and it's just frustrating, isn't it? And the problem is, the reason all these plans tend to fail is because they don't set realistic goals. I think that's the main thing. If I've ever had a resolution, I've I'm not gonna lie, I've probably done it myself. I've never made them realistic enough. I've not made them achievable. And you get people who are setting out to do a marathon in 2 months or something, and they've never put a pair of trainers on and gone for a run and things like that. I mean, that's an extreme example, but that is what I'm getting at. It's just baby steps, isn't it? So I understand the psychology behind resolutions. Change is a good thing, but yeah, it's interesting that the answers that I got in work, and the majority of them were that they didn't agree with them. So yeah, it was interesting. It's one of those things that I always look forward to. I always look forward to people's Facebook statuses. Oh, this year I'm gonna pack smoking in, and they've been smoking for 30 years. It's not gonna happen, is it?
I love all the Instagram reels that pop up, like people walking in the gym and it's being packed, and then 2 weeks later it's empty again.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But if you're gonna do it, I take my hat off to you. But stick with it, make it realistic. But yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah. Um, moving on to let's just talk. I guess this is our first podcast. Um, for anybody who does listen to this, talk a bit about ourselves, just so you know a bit about us, who we are, what we do, why we're doing this. Um, you can kick off, of course. I'll let
Oh,
you do
cheers.
that first. Talk about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Nathan, or runs Ultras on Instagram. So I'm actually 46 years old. Um, I've only been running properly for the last 3 years, 5 years total. 2023, I signed up for one ultra, which led into another and another, and before I know it, I'd run 12 in a year. 5 of them being in 5 days around Pembroke, totaling 160 miles in the week, which was just stunning. Yeah, that's me. Dad of 4, full-time job. Yeah, and I run. Don't look for hitting any PBs or any times, distances. I just enjoy the suffering, and so like going out every day and just running just to escape normality. I suppose it's my
Yes.
meditation.
Yeah, embracing the chief.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That pain is real.
Yeah, damn right it is. Yeah, I get that though, and again, there's so many people that I talk to who don't run. They just don't understand it, but it's true, isn't it? It's a cliche statement, but it is. You embrace that pain, and it's almost enjoyable. Well, it is enjoyable. You punish yourself, and at the time, it hurts like hell, and you hate it. But when you cross that finish line, and with all the training you've done leading up to it, it just feels amazing, and that's why I think I do it. So, um, yeah, that's cool. Mate, do you know what I've got to say as well? You went from running one ultra to then deciding to run, was it 12 you said in a year and 160 miles over 5 days?
Yeah, it was 11. Well, 6 originally planned to do, which I was like booking every month. Then I got to July and there was an invite on Instagram for this a 5 day event, which I signed up for. Didn't expect to get it, got that. So that was another 5. And then when I was at that event, someone said, "Oh, you can't just leave it at 11 for the year." So I just decided to do one more ultra around Pontcannon in Cardiff, 50k on a Sunday in the pissing rain, just to make
No,
it 12, just for the hell of it.
it's nice of that person to say you can't just leave it at that. Thanks for that, mate. Cheers.
Yeah,
Appreciate the
yeah,
appreciate that. Funnily enough, actually, as well, the first time I met you, the very first time I met you was at 3 o'clock in the morning when you picked me up on the way to do the Edam. Was it the Edam 50
yeah.
miler, the Pegasus Ultra, and my God, that was a disgusting race, and it turned out to be my first DNF. Like beautiful course and everything, but the weather was. And to anybody who's listening who did that, they'll know it was bucketing it down from the minute we towed the line to the minute we finished. It was horrendous, and
It was bouncing off the road, wasn't it?
oh, it was horrible. I mean, I remember being stood on the start line, and normally there's a bit of like positivity in the air, and everyone's like pushing each other, and we were all just stood there, with our heads down to the floor. You were looking at the rain bouncing and thinking, "Oh, 50 miles of this." But that's the challenge. You don't. It's Mother Nature for you. Don't go into an ultra thinking it's going to be perfect. Do you? It's never going to be like that. As much
Yeah,
as we like it.
it was a bit surreal as well on the way up, wasn't it? As we got, got blocked off by 50 soldiers with guns and burguns.
And just for context, it wasn't because we were doing anything wrong. It was based up in a place called Bridge, which is a big military area. So there was red flags flying for the entire race, saying live rounds being fired. And yeah, as me and Nathan were driving down this road, we got stopped, and all these soldiers came out in full camo gear and makeup and what have you, and nothing like
You
a
were really
nothing like.
concerned as well, weren't you, about the live firing?
Well, I was, yeah. I mean, nothing pushes you along quicker and helps with the pace than live ammo going off. Every now and then, when you hear a machine gun going off, it's yeah, it's reassuring. That is, yeah. Maybe that's why Rhys chose that course.
Yeah, yeah. So what about you then, Rhys? What's your background apart from your insane Instagram workouts? And if anyone's got Rhys on Instagram, don't try any of his workouts because you will end up in hospital because they're so bloody hard. The guy's a machine.
Appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, 38 years old. Instagram is creature of discomfort. I've dabbled in and out of various sports all my life, like football, rugby, kickboxing. I've done jujitsu. And something that's always kind of lingered in the background is running. I've always, I was running to and from practice. I've just always loved running, the freedom of it. Um, One of my biggest goals was always to run an ultra, but just never took those steps to start training for it. And then in 2014, I had a really bad leg break doing jujitsu and snapped my shin in 6 or 7 places. I've got wire in there and everything. And I was told I shouldn't really continue to run because if I damage my ankle, then it'll end up being fused. Well, like most things in my life, I didn't like that. So I gave him the middle finger and I put my head down and I aimed for an ultra. And I wish I could see that doctor now. So I that was my motivation. And since that, yeah, I've not done quite as many as Nathan yet, but I'm going to catch you up. Don't you worry, I will.
I'm older than you anyway, so I got more years.
But
You got
yeah,
plenty of time to catch up.
June 2020. No, when was it? When was COVID? So during COVID, I did 7 halves in 7 days for the NHS by myself. I did the 4x4 by 48. So that's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, which is the most disgusting run I've ever done in my life. My first ultra with Pegasus was in 2021, which was 30 miles. I ran 53 miles around Cardiff Bay to raise money for a good friend of mine who unfortunately passed away last year, raising money for brain cancer and brain tumor society. And yes, the one we were just speaking about then, the 50 miler when we got surrounded by soldiers. It was my first DNF because I had a really bad chest. I couldn't breathe properly. And I had to pull out at checkpoint 3, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, was around about marathon distance. So
Yeah, it was definitely 26 miles because I remember coming in thinking, woohoo, I've only got a marathon left.
oh my
It's insane
isn't
to
that
think
funny?
that.
That's
It's
funny, isn't
insane.
it? That you're thinking, yes, I've only got a marathon left when you've
Yeah,
just run a marathon.
mental.
It's yeah, I was sat there with a hot coffee, a blanket around me, and a donut, and I watched Nathan come in and disappear into the torrential rain. It was a great day, but
Yeah. I remember getting that checkpoint, seeing you. Obviously, you said you can go on, but then I was just watching everyone else get undressed and just change into their dry clothes because it was the drop bag station. And
yeah.
thinking, why the fuck are you doing that? It's pissing now. You're going to be soaking in 2 minutes. And
Did you get changed then?
I didn't bother. I thought, what's the point? Because it was bouncing off the road that day. I just couldn't see the point. So I just
No.
had moved and left. And then within like 5 minutes of leaving that checkpoint, we were knee deep in a bloody river anyway.
That's class. Well, I left the checkpoint at first, and I thought I could do it, but yeah, I ended up making the responsible decision. But I've got a lot. Yeah, I'm coming back for that race in August. So I'm doing that. I'll be doing many more this year, but that is, yeah, that I got to get that one because I got some unfinished business. Talking about runs this year, we haven't done yet. Let's move on to the unreal challenge that you're taking on, mate. Let's talk about that. Where are you going? What are you doing? And why are you doing it?
Oh yeah, that little one. Yeah, so this year now, shit, that's scary. In July, I'm taking on the Welsh Coastal Path, 870 mile of it. Um, I've got a plan to select to do a fastest known time, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think you don't get this opportunity very, very much. So let's go for it and just try and just like manage each day as it comes and see how I feel and just keep pushing.
That's amazing. And are
Yeah,
you doing that for, talk about, is it the Big Moose you're doing that for? Do you want to talk about them? Like what's,
yeah, I'm doing
for
it for
anybody
Big
who's not heard?
Game. It's a charity based in Cardiff. They give out therapy for mental health, help the homeless. Um, and so this year, well, last year now, running, I met a lot of people who ran with Big Moose, worked for Big Moose, and had the therapy for Big Moose. So I can see the results from the people who needed it. And a lot of them said that they'd contacted them to start the week, and by the end of the week, they were in therapy, which you don't get if you went to the doctors. Most
Amazing.
doctors, it's a couple of weeks waiting list, and then when you do go, they just chuck you on antidepressants rather than sort of like trying to get to the root cause of it and really help you.
Yeah, that's just, I will say on that note, I went along to one of the Big Moose evenings just before Christmas, and Nathan was there doing a chat about his personal experiences and struggles and the journey he's been on with his mental health. And there was two other gentlemen speaking there as well, and it was it changed the way I think because just listening to some of those stories was unbelievable. It was hearing what you've just brought up. The one guy actually said, and I can't remember his name, so forgive me for that. He was on after you, but he actually said about how he went to his GP because he just needed help, and they said it's got at least 6 months or something, and he said I'll be dead by now. I'll be dead by then, which it was such a heartbreaking thing to hear because
So
he
that
was
was me.
crying out for help.
That was me.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
Oh, you. Oh my
yeah,
God. Well, that's forgive me for that, but yeah, that's unbelievable to think that somebody's crying out for help, and yeah, you have to wait that long, and then you hear of these amazing independent, organizations like Big Moose, and within, like you said, a matter of days, you're in your first therapy session. That's what we need. We need more of that, and I take my hat off to you for raising funds and raising awareness for them because they deserve it. So yeah, that's amazing. Well, and I want to. I'll speak to you about that a bit more off here, and we'll also talk about it going forward because I want to do a bit with them as well. But yeah, fair play. I'm not quite doing 870. I'll come along with you. I want to
yeah.
come along and do some days, and I might trip you up now and then and just piss you off, throw things at you and annoy you along the way. Um, run up ahead and moon you, shit like that. But I am doing the new Pegasus race that Rhys has Rhys Jenkins, who owns Pegasus. They're called the Epona. So I'm doing a 100-mile run in June, and I'm doing that for Heads Above the Waters. So it's a local independent non-profit organization, all to do with mental health and supporting people going through a tough time. So based in Cardiff again. So yeah, between us, we're going to try our best to raise as much awareness and funds for those guys and those organizations. But yeah, that's going to be a focus, isn't it? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nate. Going forward, that's what we're going to talk about a lot because you
Yeah,
know
yeah. So it got like mental health. It got me thinking because the wife said that there wasn't any mental health years ago for like men, and it wasn't an issue. But I really went away and thought about it, and I thought about sort of like why that was. And I put a post on our Instagram yesterday, I think, just saying, so like there were so many working men clubs, social clubs, local pubs, more sporting events to go to, more sporting teams to play for. So men had like this connection to other men more often. And although we don't open up, we sort of like take the piss out of ourselves in our situations, and our mates then take that piss out of themselves, and it becomes lighter because it becomes banter, but it just takes the weight off it a bit. And I think that's why now we're not seeing, well, we're seeing more cases of men's mental health because men haven't got that connection anymore. Because you look at the parks now, and there's like one team playing football on a Saturday or Sunday. There's no working men clubs anymore. Hardly anyone goes down to the rugby or football anymore because there's not many places to go. Like years ago, you had the local rugby team, and you used to have 200-300 people watching it. Now those teams are gone because it's too expensive for them.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
yeah,
And then they miss that camaraderie, don't they, as well?
yeah,
They
totally
bounce off
agree.
each other. And
Yeah, we'll talk about men's mental health, but rather to like label it as men's mental health and just like try and create that social club environment, I suppose, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
It's
At the
where
end
it's
of
more
the day,
acceptable to talk about it
yeah,
and not
exactly.
label it.
Exactly. And I really want to get, we've got a few guests coming on here who are going to be amazing. So you'll see that in the coming weeks and months. But I want to get a few people on here who, like ourselves, have been through it and come out the other end because there's nothing. Talking is invaluable to me, like to anybody. It's nothing worse in bottling things up. I always thought that I was not one of these people who bottled things up. I like to get things off my chest. But I have been in a bit of the last 12 months or so has been probably the most difficult of my life for a lot of reasons I won't go into now because I'll talk about it over the course of the episodes. But yeah, I kind of went on a downward spiral this last year. Sorry, I should say now, because like I said, my mate passed away. And that kind of brought up all these other feelings that made me realize actually I haven't been talking about this. Like I spoke to my wife about it, but yeah, it's just like you said, as we get older and we have family and commitments and responsibilities like that, those random evenings that you meet up with your mate for a pint in the pub and talk it out, they just kind of slowly disperse. They just stop happening as much.
Yeah, you
But that's
feel guilty, don't you, for taking the time away from the family?
exactly which is crazy because what makes me laugh is if you want to really improve or get better at physical fitness and strength, you go to the gym. But when it comes to your mental health, where do you go? It's like you go to the gym to train your physical strength. And then when it comes to mental health, giving yourself that evening of just, you don't have to have a drink. You can obviously drive and have a soft drink and just catch up with your mates. And it's nice. It's to offloading at the end of the day because the other thing is, when you're living with someone, your wife, your partner, your husband, you know everything about each other. So sometimes it's nice to speak to someone impartial. And again, that leads back onto the road of therapy. So someone sitting there who doesn't know what you've been going through, and they're not going to try and give you advice. They just will let you talk. And that's what a lot of people, so many people need to do. So yeah, we'll talk about that a lot because it's just a huge, huge factor. And that's one of the massive reasons that I'm in a much better position than I was 12 months ago. Running has got me in such a better position. I have been to therapy, but running is my therapy ultimately. Without that, yeah, I'd be in hell of a shape. So yeah, it's again we'll chat about that and we'll raise a lot of awareness. We'll have some amazing guests going forward. But um, one other thing I wanted to talk about on here as well. I know this is something you were keen to talk about, Nate, as well. Is um, the hardest distance. And I know there's a lot of people out there might think immediately, well, you're running 870 miles. I'm running 100 miles. There's people out there running even further than that. But actually, we both know, and I would 100% agree, that for me, the hardest distance is probably 5K.
Yeah, 100%. And I bet there's so many people out there now with the New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals about wanting to do 5K.
Mm,
They're all on their couch to 5K journey. Hopefully, they'll finish the 8 to 16 weeks. Um, but yeah, it bloody sucks. It all comes down to sort of like energy systems, doesn't it? And sort of like what your body's moving through, and
mm,
also your mindset, where you're trying to train your brain to feel uncomfortable breathing heavy.
mm,
Um, because what you got to think is your body's going from 0 to say 50 miles an hour, so you need fuel in your body, in your muscles to move. And that's why the first 5-10 minutes you've blown out your ass because you're trying to get all that oxygen and energy into your muscles to make you be able to go to move. But then your brain's telling you that because you're breathing heavy, you need to stop. So you just got to be really comfortable about being uncomfortable and just push through it. Um,
mm.
it that's why I think the 5Ks are hardest because it's mentally tough because you're learning about sort of like what's happening in your body and sort of like how being uncomfortable is actually okay.
Yeah, that's true. And it's funny actually you say it like that. The way you put that is really interesting because it's we're never really taught how to run, are we? Everyone can run, We're taught how to play various sports and stuff like that, but everyone can put one foot in front of another foot and just carry on moving forward. Um, but doing that at a very quick pace, where you're going balls to the wall, for want of a better phrase, for the full 3.1 miles, it's a complete game changer. And I challenge anybody to argue that really. Anybody who's out there who's any kind of experienced runner, regardless of your ability, 5Ks suck. I've spoke to ultra marathon runners who run crazy distances on a regular basis, 100-mile plus weeks regularly, and they've never done 5Ks because, like, obviously they've done it, but they surpass that and they carry on. But they've never just set their watch and run out and done 5K because they hate the idea of it because it sucks. It's horrible, and it's
I think
I
it's the pressure as well, isn't it? Because
yeah
people think, oh, I've got to do 5K. I want to get half an hour. I want to get 25 minutes. I want to break 20 minutes. So they put so much pressure on themselves as well.
yeah it is. It's true. And is it? Do you do this? I wanted to ask you this actually. If, for example, so this is always the same with me. Tomorrow morning, for example, if I'm going for a run, if I just get up, get my trainers on, get my jacket on, and head out the door, and then before I get to the end of the road, I'm warming up. I'm thinking, actually, I'm going to try and do a 5K now, and I'll just bolt on and I'll just smash out a 5K. I always do better than if I prepare for a 5K mentally overnight. So tonight, now, if I start thinking, right, tomorrow morning, I'm going to go out and I'm going to try and get a PB 5K, never happens. I never get what I want to get. I think that leads to pressure. It's a psychological thing. It's mind over matter. And again, 5K is, I mean, you're pretty much red lighting it the whole time, aren't you? And the problem is a lot of people start too fast and then they're blowing out their ass and struggling to get to that 3.1, or they start too slow and then they're blowing out their ass because they end up going too fast at the end. So it's a very, very difficult race, but there's a lot of pros and cons to it. I get it,
Yeah,
but
because you got to get over that half an hour for your body to start relaxing and so like using the right energy systems for endurance.
yeah,
Because all you're using is your fast muscle fibers and stuff, your creatine phosphate system,
mm,
all the stuff for like sprinting really. So you need to get over that half an hour time limit. And then you start to see your body relaxing a bit because it's got the oxygen into your muscles.
mm,
And you start relaxing, bring your heart rate down and everything. But that is not over 5K, not 5K distance. 5K
yeah.
distance it sucks because you like you said, you're just blowing all the time.
It's hard, but again, for anybody out there who now they do want to pick up running and what have you, just I'm not elite, I'm not a pro or anything like that. I'll never say I am, but I've done a lot of running. I've done a hell of a lot of 5Ks. Just endure the process. I listened to a great podcast by two guys called Nathan and Rhys. I listen,
Yay! You won.
listen to a
I didn't
great
know where you were
podcast.
going with that then.
Hey. Listen to a great podcast by a guy called Nick Bear. If you've not seen him, check him out. Hell of an
He's
athlete.
built like me, really, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Bit skinnier than me, carrying less muscle.
He started out as a bodybuilder, absolutely massive. I think his mum died quite young, and so to raise awareness for like cancer and things like that, he started doing Ironmans, and then he went into the world of marathons. He's done 100-mile ultras. He's recently done a sub 240 marathon. He's just his commitment and everything is unbelievable. He's an incredible athlete, and I urge anybody and encourage anybody out there to have a listen to him. He's got some brilliant documentaries and stuff. But yeah, he did a podcast all about enduring the process. And I think that's something massive for anyone who's looking to do like a couch to 5K to understand, because it means you've got to remember that you don't have to run every single run as fast as you can. You do have to stay consistent though. So, run regularly, get used to running regularly, not fast.
Yeah, just
Easy.
enjoy every day running,
Yeah,
really, isn't it? Rather than sort of like think I've got to get to that distance, I've got to get that time, I've got to get to
yeah,
that goal.
yeah.
By week 5, I've got to do this. Just forget
Mm,
about that. Just go out and run every day, and before you know it,
mm.
you're doing 10Ks, half marathons, ultras.
Exactly. It's all about it is just getting on with it. And something that's very interesting as well, just I'm dropping names left, right, and centre here, but Courtney DeWalter, as anyone who knows anyone about ultra running knows she's the absolute goat. And she it's funny because I listened to a podcast where she doesn't believe in training programs, which is crazy because you look at her ability and her skill set and how good she is. And she just does not follow any training programs. And
That
I
sounds
was
a bit like
actually
me, really.
yeah, it's an interesting takeaway, isn't it? Because I can see both. Like, if you're going to do a couch to 5K, it's nice to have a plan. But then ultimately, if you are going to follow a plan, don't be discouraged and pissed off if you get up one morning and you can't be asked. That's fine. As long as you're hitting runs consistently, go out the next day. It's okay. Like, there's a lot of people and myself as well. I've followed plenty of programs in the past, and I have felt that negativity as well, where I've kind of kicked myself because I've got up in the morning and felt a bit under the weather and not run when I should have, run whatever was on my program in front of me. And then it's just kind of put me in a bad mood. So as long as you're being consistent, you don't have to follow it to the T. Like you keep saying, like it's all about having fun. Like, don't run away from the fun. That's something I've heard before as well, because running is fun. Running should be fun. Um, and I know, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. I'll let you talk about this, but I think a big tip for anybody looking to start that kind of distance is run with a club, join a club. Um, there's lots of clubs around. Um, I will say this one straight away: Running Punks from Cardiff. Look at this beautiful T-shirt. Great local club, and they focus on music and running, all abilities. You will never turn up to a Running Punks meet where they've got everyone's like looking at their watches, splits, and really strict. It's just they have fun and they run for as long as they want at whatever pace they want, and that's what
Yeah,
it should be.
I do like going with the punks as well. It's more of a social rather than like a planned time in it.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, oh yeah, we'll go down this way. Be around about an hour. We'll see how it goes. Maybe about 5 to 7 miles. Who knows? But we'll just have a chat on the way. It's great.
Yeah,
But there is something about joining a running club just to keep you motivated and accountable. But you've got to find the right club.
yeah, yeah.
You've
That's
got to
true.
get a club where you feel comfortable and you feel like part of a tribe, because the tribe will carry you and give you a purpose to do more, turn up every day, and push yourself really. And that's
Yeah,
science backed, where the tribal community feel will get you to your goal. That's why CrossFit and trail running is so big, because it is like a tribe, isn't it? In a cult
it's a
almost.
cult. Yeah. CrossFit is this, and it is. And the thing is, if you're having a particularly shit day and you don't fancy going for a run, a lot of these clubs will have Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, Instagram groups, and trust me, you're not alone. I can guarantee you there'll be somebody else that doesn't want to go for that run, but you link up with them and you push each other and you go out. And that can also, going forward then, if you're not particularly keen on running when it's pitch black outside, it's also good to run with people. You can link up with those people, and it's just a lovely little community. And I'll be honest with you, I've already touched on the mental health aspect, but I've made friends from running more seriously. I've made so many friends all over the world, and it's just a lovely community. It's great. Everyone supports everyone. There's no judgment, and yeah, it's great. So
Yeah, I'm
I
the same friends this year. I've met so many friends this year. It's been crazy, all from the UK, including yourself. It's all because we just like to just run,
yeah, exactly.
and and they're just all amazing human beings as well. They're all like really chilled, can't do enough for you. Um, yeah, it's just a great community to be in. You
It's
just got to
crazy.
find the right club, on you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like yourself, I met you for the first time in August at 3 a.m. in the morning to go on a 50 miler, and here we are doing a podcast together. So
Yeah, yeah, a couple of
lucky
months
you,
later.
lucky
Yeah,
you. You get to
yeah,
look at
crazy,
me in
isn't
this pink leather print top,
it? I'll have to get one ordered.
and I get to look at that phallus behind you on the wall, whatever it is.
I'll get another one done.
No, mate, you've done it now. That's it. If you take that day on the next one, I know that I've got to you. I've won. Let's draw us to a close now. Just to say thank you to everybody who's listening. But just before we do go, I want to ask you, Nathan, one quick question. And what we'll do is we'll chuck a question at the end of every podcast. And if anybody wants to send in some ideas, then I encourage you to. So please do. For you today, Nate, what are your 3 bucket list races?
Races, Badwater, Ultra X Jordan,
Ooh, yeah.
and now there's just been launched this year, Ultra X Vegas or Nevada.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so you can have a couple of days recovery then in Vegas at the end, can you?
Recovery.
Yeah,
Mate, you'd be in recovery for a couple of days afterwards, as in like
yeah. I'll tell you the
AA
story
or
next week about
gambling.
Vegas and running.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
you guys. I'm looking forward to that on one of the upcoming episodes. I don't know
yeah,
what this story is, so and
yeah.
that's genuine. I don't, but
It's a
yeah,
good one. Yeah.
nice. Well, I'm going to answer that question myself as well, but I haven't really prepared anything. This is purely off the cuff. But you stole my first one, Bad Water. I've had a plan to do that before my 40th for a very long time, but that's only 2 years away, and I'm nowhere near ready to do that.
Ooh.
So I reckon that's going to be a couple, maybe 3, 4 years before I do that. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's 135 miles through Death Valley. Um, I did see, is it Ultra X have released a new one as well? Ultra X Finland. I'm sure I
Yeah,
saw
Finland. I'm sure that's a 2-day event. Yeah,
that
the
looks
Madeira
really.
one looked amazing as well.
I've been to Madeira as well on holiday, mate, and it is one of the hilliest places I've ever been, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's on there. Um, so I'd say
Oh, do you know what?
Badwater.
I forgot Dragon's back.
Oh, mate, it's too late
What's
now.
going on?
One of my bucket lists is Dragon's Back. Mate, I don't think I'll ever do Dragon's Back. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. Not that I don't think I could. But yeah, I'm not sure if that race is for me. That looks super intense. But
Just sign up and do it.
never say never in it. But Bad
Yeah.
Water's on my agenda. Maybe I'll answer this question in a later episode when I've had to think about it. But um, I'd like to do actually, what's the one? Oh, the big 100 miler in America, or the 250 miler, Cocodona. That looks unreal.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Same type of medal as Pegasus, isn't it?
yeah, but I'm not sure about the bears and the in mountain
Yeah,
lion
yeah.
and stuff.
That's a whole new episode, though, isn't it? How the
Yeah, that's
hell
something
do you
else to
run
talk
with a
about.
beard?
Yeah, screw that. Right. Anyway,
Yeah,
it's been great, guys. Thank you, Nath. That's been it's been good to have a chat and talk things over. Anybody who's listening to this, feel free to drop a message or a caption. We've got some fun and exciting episodes coming up. We've got our first guest on the next one, Nathan, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got Jen Humphreys coming on. She ran It's Why We Run in October with me. And she was just phenomenal. She's recently just qualified as an ultra running coach as well. But again, her running journey isn't that long, so it'd be nice to hear what she has to say about it. Yeah. So also every Tuesday we're going to have Tip Tuesday, where we do a smaller podcast where we just talk about a subject we've covered on here in a bit more in depth. So next Tuesday it will be energy systems. And also, if you'd like to tag us on Instagram, we'll share your story then and maybe give you a follow back as well. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks
perfect.
for listening.
Nice one. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening.
Take care, guys.
And see you on the next episode. See you guys.